Do you enjoy reading? Do you enjoy reading short stories? Do you enjoy reading scary stories? Then I have just the thing for you, Stories of the Bizarre and Terrifying Omnibus 1, a complete collection of all of my short stories so far in one handy little collection. It also comes with a handful of neat little extras, including a glossary of all the creatures and forces I've created over the years, author's notes providing insight into my creative process and inspirations, and even 2 all-new short stories that function as proof of concepts for 2 ideas I've had for much bigger works. If you're at all interested, feel free to check out the links in the description. It's available in both ebook, paperback, and for the first time ever, hardcover. Hogwarts Legacy is many things. An open-world game, a proven money spinner, evidence of Harry Potter's enduring popularity, a childhood dream made manifest, and if you ask the right kind of idiot, financial support for the mastermind of the genocide of transgender people. I'm not joking on that last bit. Transgender activists and allies have been trying to run a boycott of this game in response to one belief held by Harry Potter creator and author J.K. Rowling. This led to them, alongside journalists on social media and on media outlets, going out of their way to tell people that they were monsters killing trans people if they decided to buy this game. Many people, myself included, didn't exactly take kindly to being told what not to spend our hard-earned money on, or being called something we were not for doing so. So that led to me and many others grabbing Hogwarts Legacy out of spite for these authoritarian dickheads that can't understand how the world isn't always straight up black and white. But from this situation does beg one question. Is the game worth getting, or was the hate from the activists justified, but for more objective reasons than ideological idiocy? Short answer, yes! Yes, it was worth getting, if the first sentence in this video wasn't already an obvious enough spoiler. Long answer, there's some specific reasons why it's worth getting, like the presentation.
Better be Hufflepuff!
But before I touch on what's good like the presentation, I need to touch on the one major criticism I have for it, something I'm sure you're seeing in the footage right now. The game's performance is really bad. From what I've heard, this is something that's more severe with the version I played, which was the PC version. It isn't as well optimized compared to the other versions released on the consoles. Problems from the frame rate stuttering, texture pop-in, load times, and draw distance were abundant. This was despite my PC's GPU and CPU both being more than appropriate to run it. Even in small localized areas, these issues would still persist, albeit to a more tolerant degree. This is unfortunate because Hogwarts Legacy is an enthralling experience, and its performance does mar it significantly. Though despite how contradictory this may sound, it doesn't affect it to the point where I wanted to stop playing. If it wasn't for its performance, this game would easily be a 9 out of 10, but instead, it alternates between being a 6 at worst and an 8 at best. And while there were times where I did consider quitting a session early due to its performance, I never did, and I kept playing instead, because the other aspects were so good that they almost completely make up for the technical shortcomings, and I will admit, it was the reason I didn't soldier on through to the end of the story for this review. My love and tolerance does have its limits, but considering it's recommended this game run from an SSD on PC, something I lack externally, and my CPU is pretty old at this point, this may be a game that I need to revisit when I can afford to complete upgrading my PC.
Revelio.
Now that that's out of the way, let's touch on what's good, starting with the presentation. This game is a beautiful feast of sights and sounds that will leave fans of both the books and movies satisfied. When things ran smooth, the game looked stunning, which was all the more surprising to me, because when I checked the game's graphical settings to see if there was anything I could lower to maybe make things run a little bit smoother, I found it was set to low. Even on those settings, there's plenty of detail in the visuals, accompanied by a great art direction and sound design that not only pulls from the movies, but also Avalanche Studios' own creative liberties. This helps make the game's open world an absolute joy to explore, from the castle of Hogwarts itself, to Hogsmeade nearby, and the Forbidden Forest and the surrounding countrysides. In fact, it's the reason why, despite being at level 18 at the time of writing, I'm still only in the early hours of the main story. The game world is so packed with detail, and it's just so much fun to wander around and find things, that I ended up spending most of my time with the game just exploring the castle of Hogwarts and doing challenges and side quests, of which there's a good deal of them, from combination lock puzzles to test your basic math skills, to portrait puzzles that'll get you looking around and taking note of the surroundings, and that's not all. There's even puzzles that are hidden in plain sight that you need to pick up on. One such being a torch lighting puzzle where you can't even try it until you've advanced far enough to get the Incendio spell. Hell, that's only some of the stuff I saw in Hogwarts Castle and Hogsmeade. There's even more things to find in the countryside, but it doesn't end there. There's also so many things just going on that don't involve the player, but are just there to help make everything feel alive. Like students going about their day only to get pranked by Peeves, or the various different ghosts floating around and enjoying their afterlives, and even smaller things, like the living portraits and tools. You'll just have so much fun from wandering around and taking it all in as you would with engaging with the gameplay. Now, speaking of the gameplay, I'll be honest, Hogwarts Legacy doesn't do anything new or original, but everything it does well. It's not a Ubisoft-style open world of tower hunting. There are objective markers, but they only really appear in the map as you explore and get physically close to them first. You can explore on foot, and you can also fast travel as you unlock the Floo-Flame points, which is convenient for when you want to get something done quick. But exploring by foot or on a mount is easily the best way to go about it and the most fun. I'd only unlocked the broomstick at the time of writing, and I'll be honest, it felt great to fly in the sky with simple and intuitive controls. Combat too feels nice as well, and it's got a nice rhythmic feel to it, as you string together basic casting combos while also mixing in your other spells. Now granted, not all of the spells have combat applications, but the ones that do, they make combat fun to experiment with, and in the thick of the moment, it's never not fun to pull off a combo of offensive and defensive magic that leaves you without a scratch and your enemies writhing in pain, especially if you reach the point where you unlock the unforgivable curses. Which does remind me, it is a shame the game doesn't feature a morality system, because you can actually play as a dark wizard, but the game just ignores it whenever you use the unforgivable curses, so I've heard. And that absence really does take away from the role-playing aspect of what is supposed to be a role-playing game, but if nothing else, it is still fun to play.
Incendio. What? Trick me, boy, again.
Now, it would be remiss of me not to say anything about the game's narrative, which is actually broken apart across 3 different types of missions: side, relationship, and primary. The side missions are just that, little one-off stories that give you a reason to explore the open world more for rewards, alongside tasks related to different classes. These later ones revolving around the classes you need to do in order to get access to all of the spells. And I'll be honest, these ones I found the most fun in the side quests to do. The main missions though, they move the core narrative forward, and I'll be honest, it's a solid story, where our character can see an unknown form of ancient magic, which puts them in the crosshairs of the Dark Wizard Victor Rookwood, and the main villain, the leader of the Goblin Rebellion, Ranrock. The mystery is compelling enough with likable characters, but I can't comment much more on that because, as I said earlier, I got so engrossed in just exploring the castle of Hogwarts that I'm still only in the early hours of the story. But I can comment more on the relationship quests. These are essentially side quest lines that tell more longer form stories, and I gotta say, they do a bang up job of further fleshing out the setting and some of the other characters. These include things like helping out Gareth Weasley steal an ingredient for his latest brewing experiment to helping Sebastian Sallow learn the secrets of the dark arts for the sake of a greater good. Altogether, you get a very meaty narrative package with these missions, as many of the characters in the relationship quests also play vital roles in the main story, further making it feel like you're working alongside these people in a school year, and each one feels like some thought went into them, both on a gameplay and narrative level. So there's never really a sense where the devs were lazy and just copying pasting ideas to pad things out, further driving home just how immersive this version of Hogwarts can be. When it's all said and done, Hogwarts Legacy earns its place as one of 2023's most notable games. Even if you strip away everything that immerses you in the wizarding world and look at it at a foundational level, there is still an enjoyable game to be experienced. Do I see it being Game of the Year? No, but I do see it easily as a must-buy that deserves to be tried at least once. And if nothing else, I can see myself putting it in the prize pool for my radio show's Christmas giveaway this year.
Incendio. Confringo.
Hey sweet, thanks for checking out this review on the game that shall not be named, Hogwarts Legacy. I really do appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, by all means hit the like and the subscribe buttons, I really would appreciate it. Now for the next game review, I'm planning to review the Dead Space remake. I've been looking forward to this, but I have to admit, due to its performance on my PC, I've made a decision. And that is to delay a number of reviews I had scheduled till at least after my PC is fully upgraded with a new motherboard and CPU. This will be until April to May at the earliest, and these games are the Resident Evil 4 remake, Dead Island 2, and Atomic Heart. In the meantime, I do still plan to review the remaster of Fatal Frame Mask of the Lunar Eclipse, but beyond that, I'd say I'll be mainly looking at games from my backlog like the Persona 3 Portable remaster. Anyway, I got all that more coming up, and I can't wait to touch those games once I got my computer fully upgraded. See you around.